Hey, welcome back to Diabolic Shrimp, the least professional talk show on the internet. I'm your host, best-selling author and comic creator Josh Grant. And today, for our latest segment of Monday's Tartar Sauce, if you stumbled upon Diabolic Shrimp, I love to interview interesting and famous people around the world. I love being interactive with our audience. So if you stumbled in on this channel, go ahead and ask some questions over there in the live chat. I love to bring those things up and share them with our special guests here. But Monday's Tartar Sauce is our newest segment where we get to discuss each month a different subject, whether it's like science fiction or fantasy. And tonight, I'm really excited. Tonight's kind of a bit of a scattershot approach. It's our subject is new, just the general subject of new, whether that's creating new characters or new worlds, or starting a new business, or setting out on a new adventure. And so we have several special guests that are going to share and talk about some of those things. And you're welcome to put them in the hot seat, ask them questions over this way. There we go. Over that direction in the live chat. We already have a few people already over there. Dwayne Dawson is saying, hope I can remember to be here on time to support Dale Lyman. That's one of our guests. Dale Lyman is. And then we also have SBK143 Scott. Hi, y'all. So hi, Spaka. So, well, it's great to have you all on here again. Let's put these people in the hot seat when we bring them up. Ask them some questions and play some trivia with us. We're going to have trivia at the end of the show. Before we get there, excuse me. Just talking about new, this is my newest comic coming up, another zombie apocalypse. I've been teasing it for the past month here. Coming up this month, we're actually going to launch the Kickstarter. And so if you want to be drawn in as a zombie, we are going to be getting a Kickstarter going. You can actually be a part of it. If you're an author and you want to advertise your book, we'll actually have an option for you to also advertise your book within this comic, which will be really, really cool. So, all right. Well, without further ado, we've had our crazy characters, our special guests sitting in the wings for a bit. So let's bring them on. Everybody, welcome to Diabolic Shrimp.
Thank you.
Well, welcome back to Diabolic Shrimp. I should say there's been quite a few of you have been on Diabolic Shrimp. And so going around the table here, just to introduce you to our guests, we have Dale Lyman. Dale,
can I stop you there, Josh? I know that you're as terrible at names as I am. It's actually pronounced Lehman.
Dale, thank you for correcting me. I am the expert of butchering everyone's name on this show. As we have our guest. Those are my initials. I'm here for Melissa. All right. Well, you all have the cheer squad going here. So I butchered our guest name too while I was at it. So Dale Lehman. I'm sorry for butchering your name. Dale is a wonderful writer. He's the master of puns. He writes all sorts of great adventure and mystery kind of books. Dale is also our Shrimpy Award winner from last year. We have the Shrimpy Awards also coming up. So if you're an author and you want to show off your book cover or your short story, come join us for the Shrimpy Awards on diabolicshrimp.com. And so going around, Melissa Willis-Sell. Melissa, you have a book out even recently. You kind of re-released Chronicles of Fae, but Melissa has all sorts of great fantasy and kind of darker fantasy as well. And so Melissa, welcome back.
I'm so happy to be here. Yay.
And so see, we have Cendrine Marrouat. Did I get it right?
All right, good. You did it right.
And so Cendrine is back. Cendrine, I've had a chance to get over to creativeramblings.com. I can see it in your name there. Cendrine creates all these wonderful new art forms, wonderful new poetry forms, and also publishes other people. And so Cendrine, is so great to have you back back on Diabolic Shrimp.
Excited to be here for the second time.
Yes, and Ken Brandt for our last guest here. Ken Brandt wrote Positive Vision. I can see that in your name as well. And I need to start putting my books in my name there. I told them all to promote their books. We're all about shameless self promotion on this site, so definitely promote your books. Hold those up there. But Ken Brandt wrote a lot about his fun adventures. Living with a different style of vision, right? And it's just a really great, fun book, but also really inspirational. So Ken, it's great to have you back as well.
Hey, great to be here.
Well, it's so wonderful to have you all on here. For our audience, again, if you want to ask them questions or just shout somebody out, go ahead in that live chat. We love being interactive. We love getting you up here. Play some trivia with us later in the show. We're going to have a little bit of trivia. And so also check out these people's wonderful books. They're all in the description down below. So I put all their books down there. So check them out. We have Yi on here. Wow, that comic looks awesome. Oh, thank you, Yi. So unless you're talking about positive vision there, it's not a comic, but it's comic gold sometimes. And so Yi also says, I'm here from Melissa too. Melissa, Melissa's winning so far, I think. That would be Scott there says that would be dope to be a zombie and to have my book plugged in there. Hey, we would love to have you. Stay tuned. Coming up here in about the next couple of weeks, I'll be getting that Kickstarter going and announcing all of that for everyone. And so, well, everybody here, it's so great to have you all on. We have a wonderful group here. So this month, our whole subject for Monday's Tartar Sauce is new. We're starting a new year. It's a chance to strike out and start a new business or start a new book or start a whole new style of things like Cendrine does. And so all of you are all very creative people, very brave people stepping out and trying out new stuff. So I'd love to check in with you all and ask you actually, let's catch up and see what's new with each of you. What have you been working on lately, or what's something new that you've created? And I'll let you all jump in where however you like actually on this one.
Everybody's
Dale, it's you. I saw you move first. Dale, what's new?
I was going to let somebody else go first. So I've got several things in the works actually. I put this book up here earlier, and I was having trouble getting it in focus in the camera. Does that work?
Yeah, the Fibonacci.
Everything's backwards here. This was my first novel, The Fibonacci Murders. It's the first novel in my Howard County Mysteries series, which is set in Howard County, Maryland.
It's a good series, by the way. I've read. I think I've read the entire series. So
I think you did
up to this point, yeah, because I'm waiting for the new one now.
Yeah. So this is the first one. The second one is called True Death. The third one is called Ice on the Bay. The fourth one will be coming out sometime this year. I don't have an exact date, but I'm expecting it to be in the spring, and it's called A Day for Bones. If you like the first three, like Josh did, or if you haven't actually read any of them yet, personally, I think it is the best one of the lot so far. It should be, because I've been working on them for many years, and I should be getting better. Right?
I was like, you're required to say that before you publish it. Whatever you're working on, if it's not the best, go back and work on it more.
but I want to tell you, I have a beta reader who has been with me for the whole series, and when he sent his comments back, the one thing that stuck in my head when he said it, because it was such a nice thing to say, was he said, True Death set the bar really high. This one blew it away. So I have high hopes for that everybody will enjoy this one.
Well, I love that. I'm excited for it, because I was like, I've really enjoyed your mystery. I was like, you write in a whole lot of different styles, and that was a great mystery series. So I'm excited for the next one. So
then I also have in progress a science fiction novel. It's a dystopian novel about all the crazy things of pandemic. This has nothing to do with COVID. It actually was written as a short story probably 25 years ago. I don't remember exactly when I first wrote it. My wife really liked it, and it's kind of been sitting in my filing cabinet for a long time. I always wanted to create a novel out of it, because I always felt that there was more to the story than I had in the short story, but it's just taken me this long to get to the point of thinking how to do it. And darned if I didn't sit down to do it, and a month later COVID hit. So I don't know if it's bad. I'm not sure if that's
timely or like bad timing.
Yeah, it could be bad. It could be very bad. I don't know.
Well, I'm fascinated.
I have a long way to.
I'm fascinated, and we'll definitely catch up on that, because it's like we're going to talk a little bit later about like starting something new, and that's one of the things I'm fascinated about. Sometimes like starting something new is actually revisiting something old, right? It's like going back to something you did a while back, and that's kind of what we're going to dive into a lot tonight. So that's awesome, Dale. Let's jump down to Cendrine. Cendrine, like what's been new with you, or what's something new that you created?
Oh my God, so many things, but a short.
You get one, okay? You guys are all you're all showing me up here. I was like, I've worked on like one
I think
thing
we're
in the
all
last
busy
year.
anyway. I'm not the only one. So most people know me as a poet, but last year I had a vision. I decided that I wanted to start writing short stories. So I released one short story as an ebook. So that's the first thing. And I've been really creative lately. I went through a really great bout of creativity and I decided to create another poetry form. So a few days ago, actually I launched my fifth poetry form, which called the Sepigram. And it's a poetry form dedicated to fractals, which I love creating, and pi, the number pi. So it's a very interesting poetry form. So that's
you can eat it with pie while you're doing. In fact,
I'm
about to review it. Actually, I believe that's the one I'm about to review, and I'm going to eat pie now while I'm doing
there
it.
you
So,
go. Perfect.
just for you, Cendrine.
Yeah,
And so, Cendrine, you're required to be creative since creativeramblings.com is what you created. So it's in right there in the name. But you're definitely adding some class to the show with creating an entirely new form of poetry always. And so, all right, well, let's hop over to you, Melissa, and then we'll get down to you, Ken. So, Melissa, what's been new with you, or what's something new you created in the past?
Something new would probably be the recent re-release of
Chronicles of Fae, and it's an excellent book too. I was like, I've reviewed it. I'm going to review the new one because I'm excited to see how it's changed.
It's darker. And then my publishing company has some new romance that's going to be out hopefully soon. We've got so many submissions that we're going through. It ends tomorrow, so
that's awesome. Well, more submissions than you can handle is always a good thing, right? It's a good problem.
There's hundreds right now. We're still reading through November's.
Yeah.
So, oh boy.
So Malcolm Sell, by the way, says hi, Melissa. So if anyone else wants to shout out Melissa, we got a lot of shout outs to Melissa out there. Everyone, shout out Melissa in the live chat. So, all right.
Hi, Melissa.
Dale, get out of here. No, just all right, Ken. How about you? What's been new with you? Positive Vision is a fantastic book, by the way. What's been on your slate lately, I suppose?
Well, in terms of Positive Vision, first I'll give you the full title: Positive Vision: Enjoying the Adventures and Advantages of Poor Eyesight. It's an adventure and humor-filled memoir. And what's new about it is that the audiobook, which I narrated, along with some minor parts by some other people, but I narrated the bulk of it, is out now and is doing pretty well. So it was really fun narrating it. It was a completely new experience for me and very enjoyable. And now the book is out, which is just a joy. So that's what's new.
That's so cool. I was like, I'm definitely gonna have to check out narrating. It was such a blast getting to talk with you. For anyone that's watching, you can catch up with most of these characters on a previous show on Diabolic Shrimp. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But you can definitely. It was fun to hear from you, Ken, just telling the story. So it actually would be really fun to actually hear you narrating that. And so, man, everyone's doing great in the live chat. I love being interactive with everyone. Melissa clears throat. Malcolm says, "No, it's me, Elizabeth." All right, a mystery.
That's my daughter. That's my daughter using her father's account.
Dale needs to jump on this. It's a new mystery. There's identity theft happening on the show. And then Yi says, "Joshua, do you write mostly comics? If so, where can I get some?" Yi, thanks for asking. I was like, I guess I'll promote my own stuff. I do these days. I'm a best-selling comic creator. I wrote The Lost Boy, which is a retelling of Peter Pan as like a vigilante crime fighter. It's on Amazon. The link is down there in the description below. But definitely check out these other people's books because we definitely want to shout them out too. And now, hi, it's Ella. I thought it was Elizabeth.
That's my other daughter.
It's a mystery now. So, well, it's great to have you all on here. Thanks for participating. Definitely ask these people some questions. Well, let me throw it to you all here. When you set out to create something new, all right, is that like a conscious decision? Like, are you like, I'm going to get out there and just do something totally different? Or does it sort of just happen while working on stuff? Like while you're working on it, you just have an epiphany and you're like, I'm going to take it in this totally different direction. I was never going to take this before. So when do you just kind of like, do you have to like set out and say, I'm going to do this? Or is it like, is it just kind of like spontaneous, your creative process?
Both.
I think it's a combination. Sometimes one, sometimes the other. Sometimes you plan ahead, you map it out, and then other times, bam, you think of an idea and you go for it. You know, it can work both ways. I don't think you have to be in just one camp or the other.
Nice. And Melissa, you were jumping in for a second there. Did you have something?
It's for me, it's just both things that you said. Sometimes you want to try something new, but then the new that you try turns out to be newer than you thought, and it's not exactly where you were going with that new. Does that make sense?
that's how I feel about on this show half the time. I'll ask something and I'm like, I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest. So we'll just go with it, I guess, you know. So how about Dale and Cendrine? Do you have anything to add of like what's your creative process in setting out to like create something?
I'll let Cendrine go first.
Okay.
For me, it's usually spontaneous. You have an idea and, gut feeling, and I'm like, I have to do it. And usually that I go with it. I rarely revisit something to do something new. It's just, I have an idea and I go for it. That's the way it goes for me.
And I have to agree with what everybody said. It's really both. In many cases, it's what comes up and bites you on the leg and begs to be written. In some cases, it is, I want to write something and I will go out and take a look at a writing prompt or look out the window and see what's out there, something of that nature. It's never completely internal. It always comes from something outside, but usually it's something that just happens spontaneously. When it's not, then you make it happen spontaneously by using something like a prompt.
Yeah, I was like, well, and I love like just seeing everyone's like creative process, right? And before we get to our next question here, we had a few audience questions, so we'll put everyone in the hot seat. Let's see, Scott, is all the books being talked about here on Amazon? Most of them are. Is there other places that people have their books that they wanted to give a shout out real quick?
Barnes and Noble.
Okay. So, well,
mine is Positive Vision is available at all major online booksellers, any place that sells paperbacks, hardcovers, ebooks, or audiobooks worldwide. It's everywhere.
Cool. And and Scott says, I'd love to give them a once over for my blog. You rock, Scott. Authors love to hear that, Scott. If you want to give your blog a shout out, feel free to shout it out in the live chat. We're all about shameless self promotion. Feel free. I'll give you a shout out on here. And then Malcolm, or the mysterious cell. We don't know which cell it is anymore. It says, what made you want to write books? So I'll throw that to all of you actually. Then since this is our audience question, the mysterious cell. We're not sure which one. It could be Malcolm. It could be Elizabeth or Ellie. Like what made you want to write books? Anyone want to jump in for that one?
In my case, it's genetic. My father did a lot of writing. He never, not until the end of his life anyway, didn't really have much interest in publishing it. He did try a little bit of self-publishing towards the end of his life. There are people farther back in my family that write. I started writing as a child. I couldn't tell you why. I just did. And it's just something I've loved to do ever since.
Who's next?
Okay, I'll talk.
Go for it, Cedric.
Well, I usually say, why not? I just wanted to do it. So I started writing, when I was a teenager. It was sappy poetry. It sucked like any teenage poetry and teenage writing, I think.
That's all my modern poetry. So I give you kudos. I was like, poetry is a blind spot.
And I restarted writing actually in 2005 and started all of a sudden in January 2005, actually. So it's been quite a while now. And then when I, had been writing poetry for a few months, a couple of friends said, you should basically publish in books. And that's how that started. So, yeah, simple.
Nice. Well, I'm curious for you.
I had a lot of stories that I've been telling people over time, talking over beers or coffee or whatever, and they thought they were really funny and interesting, and so I just wrote them all down, and that's what happened, and then it became a book.
Well, were you challenged, especially for you, Ken? It's like a lot of those come from experiences, and like I said, I love that you narrated it, because sometimes it's like some of the story comes in like the intonation, right? It's like, were you challenged about writing those down though?
No, I thought it was really fun. I only included stuff I thought would be good to include and fun, and that people had told me was interesting and funny. So that it was a self-selection thing. And having not been a writer for, this is my first book, it really helped a lot that I had told most of the stories a lot of times and gotten reaction. So I knew how to tell them, and also by reading my drafts of the book out loud and saying, wait a minute, that's not really how I would tell this story. That's not how I would phrase it. I rewrote, or as part of the editing, I would rewrite things to make it sound much more like I was actually telling the story. And I think that was a key to making it very readable and fast-paced.
Nice. Well, all right. And here, I'm going to jump to our next one, but Melissa, feel free to answer the last one. I'll throw it to you first here. Like, what are you feeling when you're kind of setting out to work on a new project? What is it that you personally feel like, whether that's trepidation or excitement, or what is that feeling of setting out with something new? Melissa, I'll throw that to you first.
Anxiety.
So
more to me, it's anxiety, because then I'm like, oh God, what have I gotten myself into?
It definitely can be daunting.
And how strong is this idea? Is it gonna be as good as I want it to be? But yeah, for me, it's anxiety all the time for everything, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I'm curious from you though. It's like, because I tend to be actually a bit of a nervous personality. If you can't tell, I'm all over the place over here. And we'll tie this into a question I was going to ask later. But from I collected some questions from the website Diabolic Shrimp from readers on there, and we had Darian 54 said, "How do you get over the fear of failure?" So I'm curious, like, for you, like, how do you overcome some of that anxiety or that fear of failure, and is it useful to you? Because sometimes for me, I am a kind of a bit of a nervous personality, but sometimes that actually kind of helps me propel my work forward. So Melissa, how do you do that? And I'll throw the questions to everyone else.
Honestly, I don't have a fear of failing. That's probably the one thing I don't fear, because I don't write for other people. I write for myself. I write what I want to read. So, I mean, if people love it, that's great. I want them to, but if they don't, that's okay too, because I like it.
I love that. And that's actually how I get over my anxiety when writing, because sometimes it is daunting, especially continuing a series is daunting, because like the first one, it's kind of fun, it's new. And then like when you continue a series, it's like, oh, I got to live up to what I did before. And that's nerve wracking. And I jump in with you. It's like, if you love it, I would say if you love it, 100 other people will love it at least. So, all right. So for the rest of you, like, what are you feeling when you set out to do something new, and how do you kind of get over a little bit of that nervousness or fear of failure, if that's something that you have? Let's jump down to Ken for that one.
Something that's always really helped me ever since I got this advice while parachuting was because I was nervous. I was a little nervous the first few times I did parachuting, and one of the senior skydiving instructors said to me, he goes, well, don't worry about your parachute opening. just assume it's not going to open. Plan for the worst and just think, all right, you're going to wait a while, then you're going to use your backup. And that kind of logic applies to all kinds of stuff. It just makes life much more relaxing, whether you're managing a big project or you're writing something, just assume it's going to be a giant disaster and be pleasantly surprised if things work out. And then you're happy. I mean, obviously keep working on it till you're happy with everything and you don't think it's a big disaster. But if you go into it with that approach, you can be pretty relaxed.
I was like, I'm not so sure I trust the parachute instructor that says, don't worry about your parachute opening. I was like, you're fired, sir. No, I love that though. It's like, I always call it, let's have a wonderful failure. I consider Diabolic Shrimp to be a wonderful failure. It wasn't what I wanted originally. And it's been a lot of fun and it's been it's been a great success. So I think a good way to do books or anything you're setting out to do for anyone on here is have a wonderful failure. So we've had quite the crew in the live chat here. I want to do a quick round before I jump back to our guests here. Scott, I read and review books for free. I'm a book nerd. We love book nerds. We're all book nerds here, and love to read and write. Enjoy being able to read books from authors like me. Scott and anyone else that wants to connect with any of these people, by all means, you're welcome to reach out to me on diabolicshrimp.com. I will happily connect you with them if that's something that's possible. And so if you, I don't ever share your information in the live chat unless you have a blog or something. You're more than welcome to share that. But yeah, you're welcome if you want to connect with these people and connect with them online or something. Reach out to me on diabolicshrimp.com. I'll happily connect with you. We have several other.
That would be great. That would just be super.
Yeah, we're a wonderful support community for each other. So we would love to support you as a book nerd, and we'd love to support all these people too. Melissa, you're getting shouted out again. Melissa's my favorite author. That's really sweet. And then E is. How many comics books do you have, Joshua? And what you are shouting me out tonight. I appreciate it. I'm feeling the love tonight, honestly.
Is it your show, Josh, or did you invite him on purpose?
Yeah, I actually pay people to get in the audience. I'm like, ask me more about my books. Feel free. And so they have stock in Diabolic Shrimp, baby. And so if you're interested in my books, I'm always love connecting with readers. You can find me on diabolicshrimp.com. That's what this is connected with. I'll happily give you a free comic book. The first one's free on diabolicshrimp.com anyway. And so anyways, jumping down here, we have Dale. You're also getting the shout outs too here. I love Howard County Mysteries by Dale Lyman. Dwayne Dawson, welcome back. I shouted you out in the beginning. I'm not sure if you got a chance.
Thank you, Dwayne. Good to see you again.
So, well, it's great. Well, Dale, let's jump to you now. What are you feeling when you set out on like a new project, and how do you kind of get over that kind of fear of failure if that's something that you experience?
Well, let me first give a shameless commercial plug to anybody that does want to connect with me. Certainly go through Josh if that's. I would love to have him be the middleman. But if you don't like using middlemen, my website.
If you don't like me, is that what you're trying to say?
Remember. My website is very easy to remember. It's DaleELehman.com. There's no separators in my name. DaleELehman, all one word, .com. And I do have a contact form there too.
Yeah, and you don't. People don't have to go through me. I always want to make sure we. I don't want anyone posting their email in the live chat because there's wackadoodles out there. So yeah, feel free to connect with these people through me, but also you can also check out their books down below. The link is down there if you're just tuning in. So Dale, how do you feel when you're setting out on like a new project?
I generally am pretty excited. I don't really have any anxieties or anything about it. I don't have anxieties until I get stuck, which usually happens sooner or later.
Sooner in my case.
Beginning of the project, I always have some kind of vision that I just can't wait to get down on the page. And then when I get down on the page, it's not what I wanted, and then I have to work with it. But I do not really find myself in any kind of binds at the beginning of a project. As far as any fears or anything like that, I like to think that I dealt with that a long time ago, and it just isn't a problem anymore. In actual fact, you always have doubts and uncertainties and possibly fears. I generally wouldn't characterize it as a fear, but definitely doubts and uncertainties. when that sort of thing happens, I recognize where it's coming from. That's your inner critic telling you that you're not good enough, you can't do it, you can't possibly succeed. And the way you defeat that inner critic is you go out and you do it anyway.
And then you jump out of an airplane with a parachute.
Jump out of an airplane with no
like
parachute.
Ken.
Right. But yeah, I mean, and jumping out of the airplane, the metaphorical airplane, without the metaphorical parachute, sometimes you have to do that too.
True.
But really, at the end of the day, it's just I just keep writing, and sooner or later, whatever is blocking me or getting in my way will vanish. And of course, this is all about news, so we're not going to talk about this, but an important part of the process is rewriting. So that comes in.
Well, in a weird way, though, I feel like that actually really does connect with new, though. There's the old saying, like, anyone can write, but only writers can rewrite. But it's like, that's where the magic happens. But it's also like when you come back and you already have like the bare bones, you can look at it with a new set of eyes. So that's how we'll connect with new. It's like, it really is like a new way of looking at it, which gives you a whole new thing. Kind of like you, Dale, you went and you kind of dusted off an old one of your scripts and you have a new set of eyes for it, and it gives you a whole different direction you can take it in. All right, Cendrine, how about you? What are you feeling when you're setting out on something new, like new adventure or new venture? Maybe a new adventure. I don't know.
Well, there's nothing to lose. Like, the worst thing that can happen, and you're not going to sell the book, or people are not going to be interested. But that's the worst thing that can happen. There are trolls and people will make fun of you, but that's life. It happens. And you can't succeed if you're scared to fail. No one has ever succeeded without failing 1,000, 2,000 times. So when I set up on a project, I'm like, okay, let's do this. Now I actually enjoy collaborating with people. I co-author books now, mostly, because it's more fun. You share the work, you build a relationship with a wonderful person, and you work together. You use each other's platforms, which is fantastic too. So you feel less lonely, because when you're self-published, in particular, it can be a lonely, it can be a lonely journey, as you know. So yeah, when I have an idea, when I start working on a project, I'm like, the worst that can happen, has already happened to you. So people can say no, they can say they're not interested. It's life,
I give you kudos. I was like, and it's definitely something. It's definitely a skill, right? Having to step out and be like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna try it. And sometimes they say like the successful people are the ones that have like a big failure earlier on in life or something like that. And that's because you realize like, oh, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'll get knocked down. I get back up again. Right. And so, here, let's jump to some of our, audience questions. And this is going to be kind of like a lightning round. We'll just kind of jump it out there, throw in your thoughts. We'll just get a couple of thoughts from each of you, or from a couple of you. And then we'll kind of jump through our audience questions. Darian, or sorry, I asked Darian's. Ann 98 says, I'm thinking about writing a book. Any advice?
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
There you go.
Do it.
Don't do it, Ann. I'm just joking.
Just do it like Nike.
Right.
And make as much money as Nike. Yeah? No, so maybe.
Just do it first. Just do it first.
That I think that was always that's always my advice. This is why I started Diabolic Shrimp. It's like when I first started, it was a shock to me how difficult it was to kind of get out there and get your book out there, and you put so much love into your book, and then it's hard to get it out there. So I guess that's my big advice, is that definitely like you all say, do it and then stick with it. Like the second you get out there, a lot of people quit the second they don't sell a book, or the first year they don't sell a book. And my very first year, I sold, I think, 5 books my entire first year. And so you can absolutely do it. It does take a lot of perseverance. So, but if you love it, like I said, 100 other people would love it. All right.
Josh, can I add one thing to
please
that?
Do. Add as much as you like.
I said do it, and now I'm going to be the wet blanket. Do it. Definitely write it. Please don't publish it. The reason is, in order to become a good writer, A publishable writer, you need to write a lot. If this is truly your first book and you have never really written anything before,
Right.
unfortunate. Now, I could be wrong. You could be the one in a million genius that writes a bestseller right out of the blocks, but that doesn't happen very often. I wrote 4 or 5 novels before I published one, and I've published 3 or 4 before I felt that I was actually hitting my stride. Now, you can go ahead and publish it if you want, certainly, but don't, like Josh said, don't expect too much of it.
Mhm.
It takes a lot of work to become
I don't
good
expect
at
much of any of my books, Dale.
it. And I don't
think I
expect
lucked
any
out.
much of any of mine either, but
I thought you were going to say any of mine. I'm like, I'm taking away your shrimp.
I don't
award,
expect
so.
any.
So, Scott says,
I think Dale's point makes sense, but I don't know. I disagree. I say go for it. Don't underestimate, before you even get into the sales and marketing of your book, don't underestimate the amount of work in actually writing the book. You know, spend a lot of time writing and rewriting and writing and rewriting. Show the close to final drafts to 10 of your friends. Get serious feedback, and you'll be really happily surprised at their generosity and the good ideas they have. Some sort of strategic ideas. Move this around. Move this chapter here. Move this there. Other people will turn out to be super proofreaders. So, you're going to get great things, and then pay for and have a really good professional editor. I think if you do all those things, you can have a very good first book.
Yeah, well, and we got Dwayne says my wife Sarah has written stories, a play, and poetry, but nothing published. I say jump out there and do it. I say if you're passionate about it, definitely do it, but definitely give it the care. I would say your book is art, so treat it as such. So unless you're willing to really dive in and really treat your book like art, kind of like what Ken was saying, like getting a professional to look it over, or really giving it the love, then I would sidestep that. But I was like, if you have a story that you have to write it. I was we'd all love to check it out. Your squad here, Melissa. Can we find Melissa's book on Kindle? Well, can we, Melissa?
Yes, they are free on KDP right now.
Melissa told her kids to type that. Apparently not. They said Ella stop. So Melissa, get them. they're in trouble now. Yeah. Shout it out on live television here. And so I'm curious from you all. How do you determine success? That's actually maybe that's where we should go with this. Is like kind of what Dale was saying. Maybe don't publish your first one. And for me, I tried to get out there and go talk to publishers, and I didn't even proofread my very first book. And it was very bad. It's in a box over here, like tucked away, like sealed in a sarcophagus. No one will ever see it. But like I sent it out to everyone and their mother, and that was back in the days when it was like hard to self-publish. So I was going to all the professional publishers, and I got all those rejections. But I learned a lot from that process. I was like, maybe I should actually proofread my own work, and it was pretty bad. But how do you determine success though personally for whatever it is that you worked on? Cendrine, do you want to jump in on that one, since you kind of stepped out and created different types of art forms, actually entire types of art forms beyond just a new work. So how is it that you kind of determined success for your own work?
Well, I think first of all, you have to be realistic about what you want to achieve in life. You want to be successful because you want to sell tons of books, you want to make tons of money. Whatever you do, you have to have a strategy in place, and success has to be defined as part of this strategy. So even though I don't sell that many books, I consider myself successful because in the first place, English is not my mother tongue. I learned it late in life, and everybody in France, where I'm from, told me that I would never be able to speak English in my life. Not
you
even
speak it better than I do.
Writing in English. So the fact that I've released more than 35 books, all in English, is success to me. So when someone tells me, "Oh, I can't do it, it's too hard," I roll my eyes and I'm like, "Yes, it's too hard, really. I did it in English." $35.
Cendrine, my hat is just always off to you, honestly, because it's like I struggle with poetry anyways. I did a little bit of poetry for my second horror book, but I struggle with poetry anyway. And that's in my native tongue, and so like you doing poetry in what wasn't your native tongue is just so impressive always. And so Melissa, let's jump to you. Like how for you, like,
wait, I have a suggestion. If you've done 35 books in not your native tongue, which is super impressive, maybe you should translate at least one of them into your native tongue and see how that goes.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
I'm a professional translator, so I've done that.
That's like, well,
I thought you said all 35 were English. Okay.
Well,
no, but I
like,
translated some of them into French too.
Well, I'm curious, like how much changed in the translation, like because for poetry, you know, especially when you're doing like structure, if you're doing like structure with it or anything, it's like you have to change things around when you're translating. So it's like how much of it changed, like how much of the meaning of it changed when you were translating?
Poetry is impossible to translate fully. You will never get the same meaning. So I think for myself, I actually mostly rewrite the poems. So yeah, poetry is extremely difficult to translate. Like you can never get the full meaning. That's impossible.
Yeah, well, and that's why I was fascinated, because you almost, it's almost like a total rewrite. Dwayne here was saying Sarah wanted to publish one story and thought she had an agent, but it all fell through, and that's, I think you'll hear that again and again, of course, right? That's that's always part of the process, especially if you're going for traditional publishing. These days, I'm a huge fan of self-publishing, but if you're willing to put in the work, it's a lot of work when you self-publish, but I fell in love with the process. I used to be dead set against self-publishing, and nowadays I love being an indie author and being part of indie community as well. So Melissa, what about? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to shout out to Dwayne. I feel Sarah's pain. I had an agent that turned out to be a con artist.
Ooh, yeah, and that's
a long story, and I won't tell it here, but yeah, that was nasty.
You're gonna have to write a book about it, Dale. So Melissa, what about you? Like, how do you what's a way that you kind of I guess like gauge success for yourself?
Gosh, I don't really even know.
And that's fine, actually. I was like, it does, like, part of the fun of publishing too is like everyone has a different style, and some people it's like you can just kind of go with it and just see what happens, and that's part of the fun.
I think mine is just seeing my name in print. That's it.
So
like, you know, I have something physical in my hand that's mine. So that's it.
I'm with you on that. It's like, anytime I've ever published a book, I put so much love into it. It's like some people could just publish books like really quickly. I'm not one. It usually took me like a year to like publish one book kind of thing. And it's like, and every single time I publish one though, I would walk by and it's like having a baby, you know. It's like I have my baby over there, and it's just like I just walk by and just stare at it. I find myself just standing there staring at it. I'm like, oh, look at that. And I'm like, and then I walk and go do something. I come back. I'm like trying to do the laundry, and I just stop and I'm just staring at it. Like everyone's like, what are you doing? Are you okay? And so hopefully I don't do that to babies too. I just walk and stare at the baby. It's probably what babies see all the time. All right. So let's take a moment here. We'll get back to some of the discussion. We're going to take a moment and play a little bit of trivia just to shake things up, and we'll get back to maybe answering a question or two before we round things out. So for those of you that are in the live chat that are watching live, play some trivia with us, answer some questions. So we always like to do a bit of trivia on Monday's Tartar Sauce. This one's a really random round of trivia. Usually it's like fantasy, so everyone that like kind of knows some fantasy. This one's connected with new, since our subject today is new. And so actually let's jump to Scott's question really quick. Actually, sorry, Scott had a question. Success for me is in the steps: finish writing, success; edit, success; publish, success; sell internationally, success. Nice. Getting a print version of my book in hand, success. All right. Well, you rock. I was like, for me, it's like, yeah, it is kind of a milestone process. I agree. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So trivia here.
One more thing about
Go
success.
Ahead,
I think all of the things everybody mentioned are true and great and apply to me as well. But another factor about success that I hadn't thought about at all before I wrote my book, but which I really now think is maybe one of the the biggest and best success factors is I love hearing from somebody who read the book or listened to the book, and they just say how much they enjoyed it or how it inspired them or how they thought it was funny or how they impacted their life. That's such a rewarding email or phone conversation or Zoom to have with somebody you've never met or heard of before, and they say that out of the blue just because they read or listened to your book. It's such a wonderful feeling.
Definitely. Well, and that's why that's why I started Diabolic Shrimp, the website. I wanted a place where people can feel heard and people can feel like their book got seen, because it could be hard when these days with trying to get out there. And I was like, how can I do that? And I was like, I'm going to just start reviewing these things myself. And that's what I've been doing. And I've loved it. I love connecting with everyone like this. And so we as human beings, no matter what you're doing, just want to be heard and seen. So I really want to recommend to anyone watching, take a moment and let someone know that they've been heard or seen, or their work has been heard or seen. So give them a shout out for their book, or and for all these people, those are all down in the description down there. I'll mention that several times. So we're going to play a little bit of trivia here. So just to have a little bit of fun, even if you're terrible at trivia, you're going to have to play with me because I'm a trivia kind of guy. And so, and I actually learn a lot when I create these shows. So we're going to do a speed round of trivia here. So what's going to happen? And the pictures actually are really like loosely associated with the question. So don't worry about the picture. Don't worry about the picture. I'm going to read the question. So that's what really matters. The pictures are there for our audience just to give them something to look at. Another zombie apocalypse. No, a little shameless self-promotion there. There we go. So I'm just going to roll on through, and I'm going to ask the question. And what you have to do, you have to buzz in. And to buzz in, you're just going to go buzz, and you're going to spaz your hands out so I can see you. The more you can be spazzy, the easier it is for me to tell who said it first. And you just have to say buzz, okay? Or make a new noise. I don't know what a new noise is. So invent one if you would like. Otherwise, just say buzz. Got it?
Is that NEW, KNEW, or GNU?
Whichever one you feel like. It depends on you if you got a professional proofreader or not. And so, all right, we're gonna dive on through. All these questions have something to do with new. So it's either phrases that have the word new in it, or it's a like something that happened or is about to happen that's new. Okay, so there's 15 questions. There's some bonus questions in there. We'll see who gets to be the I always come up with like a random title, the new winner of the year. That's what you are, the newest winner this year. That's what that will be your title until next year, until someone can unseat you from that title. All right, so are you ready? Is there any quick questions? And audience, feel free to dive on in and answer some of these questions, because I'm not sure if these people can see you in the live chat. I think Cendrine can, so don't cheat. Don't cheat, Cendrine. And so here we go. Our very first question here. Who made the quote, "There's nothing new under the sun"? Anyone know who coined that term?
I feel I should know it, but I don't.
Actually, I was surprised. I came from a theater background, and this is normally attributed to a famous playwright. I'll give that as a hint. Anyone?
Well, we'll go.
Oh man, I'm gonna throw that to Ken. I think that was Ken.
Shakespeare.
Ken, you got it. Shakespeare is typically the one that is actually attributed to. While I was doing my research today, I thought it was Shakespeare, and it actually goes back further than that. Originally, it's in the Bible, but I didn't realize that. But Shakespeare was actually one of the people that coined that term. But apparently, Charles Darwin also coined that phrase. All right, next question. We're off to a good start here. So this don't worry about the pictures. They're just for our audience, for the fun of it, and I have fun just finding pictures and just putting them up there. So this powerful space observatory just reached its new home at Lagrange Point 2 and is powerful enough to see back in time. Oh, Dale.
I'm an amateur astronomer. That's the James Webb Telescope.
Yep, you got it, Dale. And so I'm glad you do that. When so I'm a big
I
space
feel like I
buff.
need to be writing this down.
So yeah, well, they're calibrating it now. In about 6 months, we'll actually get
Wow.
pictures from back near the Big Bang, hopefully. And so, knock on wood. And so, all right, coming up here, complete the classic Scottish phrase: "Out with the blank, in with the new."
Buzz?
All right,
Oh, yeah,
Melissa.
that's-
Is it out with the old and in with the new?
Out with the old, in with the new. Melissa, you got it. So I like the question mark buzz. Buzz? So, all right. Hawaii has a new island forming. When it emerges, Hawaii will have how many islands?
Oh, Buzz.
All right, Sandrine.
Is it 10?
So, good guess, but no.
Oh, it's
There,
9.
there's you don't get negative points for guessing, by the way. Sorry, I
No,
forgot.
I
to
know,
tell
I
you.
know.
So feel free to guess again if you want.
So it's 9?
It is 9. And
Oh, okay.
so, interestingly enough, though, there actually are more Hawaiian islands. I discovered this today. And so there are actually 137 Hawaiian islands, apparently. And so if you look at them, but the main islands, there's currently 8. There will be 9. So Loihi is the new island that's forming. And so, all right, next up. All right. Google's AlphaFold Go is an incredibly powerful artificial intelligence that will revolutionize medicine. What natural material is it designed to predict the folding of? It's a natural material that your body needs to survive.
I want to say linen, but that's not right.
Nope.
Jeans.
So nope.
What?
Jeans.
Is it water? I don't know.
Nope.
I should have studied. God.
I didn't send anybody questions, by the way. You guys are all actually doing really good on this. I'm surprised you got a lot of these. I get to look them up, so I get to know the answer. I get to feel like I know them all.
I'm using my stress ball. I hope
I'm working on giving you anxiety, Melissa. You told us that's how you write.
Thank you.
So our audience has been getting some of these. No, Scott, it's not air.
fuel, yeah.
This
The proteins?
it is proteins. Who
Oh,
said that?
all
Was
right.
that Dale?
I said that. That was the
All right,
only thing
Dale,
I could
You
make
got
any
it.
sense
That
out
is
of it.
it. Protein folding. This thing is actually going to revolutionize medicine and production, and people haven't heard about it. It just happened, and it's mind blowing to me because I'm a scientist originally at heart. And so, all right, coming up next. This I lost my place. I apologize. And so what continent is the world's newest internationally recognized country on? It's okay. You don't get negative points for
Africa.
guessing. So, Ken, it is Africa. So the newest country, it was actually from several years ago, the newest internationally recognized country is South Sudan in Africa.
Okay.
All right. So currently the standing right now, we have Ken Brandt with 2 points, Dale Lyman with 2 points, Melissa Willis-Sell with 1 point, and Cendrine Marrouat, excuse me.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Wow. I'm sorry, Cendrine. I promise I will get it next time you're on this show. And so at
Don't
one
believe
point,
him. He still hasn't got my name.
I know. Dale, I'm taking that. I'm taking your award away. No, just joking. And so, all right. Coming up here, another phrase one. So, what great leader said, "Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step." This was a leader in the United States, leader working towards civil rights.
Must be Martin Luther King Jr. Then.
It's Martin Luther King Jr. Dale,
I
got it.
really, really wanted to say whoever he was, he probably broke his leg falling down the stairs.
Depending, you're not walking, you're not taking that first step in faith, Dale. You got to jump out of the airplane and not worry about your parachute. That's what Ken told us. So listen to Ken. No, our audience you are really getting these, audience. So
They're better than we are.
hopefully Sandrine's Hopefully Cendrine's not looking at them. This next one, sorry. My papers are all over the place. So this next one has to do with cars. This famous car maker said, "Failure is the opportunity to begin again more intelligently." Cendrine?
Henry Ford.
Yep, Cendrine got it. It was Henry Ford.
The only name I knew.
That's okay. That's the one I knew too. I was like, I was dipping through. I was like, I'm not sure which ones. Oh yeah, I had to get
This is cute.
And so I don't know why this is a thing. I went looking up earlier. I was like, picture of babies, and there's like 800 pictures of babies in flower pots.
Yeah.
I know Ann Getty did it, but it's like,
Yeah.
it is still like the thing, like it's to do with
Yeah.
babies apparently.
Can you see how distressed they all look too?
Yeah, it's like I had another one that I wanted to put on. There's babies just like screaming at the camera. It's just like, but it was like too fuzzy to get up here. And so, all right, how many babies were born on New Year's Day around the world? We're gonna see who gets closest. Dale, give us a number.
I have no clue.
This is for the whole world. New
The
Year's Day in one day.
Whole world, one day. I like round numbers, so I'm going to say 1 million, and I know I'm wrong.
Okay, 1 million. Dale has 1 million. Melissa, what do you got?
I will say 1,126.
1,126. We're on either side here. And so, Ken, what about you?
I'd say 40 million.
40 million. And Cendrine, what about you?
5 million.
5 million. And so, the closest person, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do the math in my head. Our audience, by the way, Scott says 7,213. Malcolm Sell says 5,879. The actual answer is 395,072 babies were born on New Year's Day. So, Melissa, you were actually closest on that one.
Wait, is that the world?
So for the whole world, yeah, apparently 395,000. I thought it would be more too. I was like, all right, cool. And so they were all born in flower pots with little flower heads, just like the picture there actually. And so, all right, we're down to our lightning round. We're gonna probably skip just a couple of questions here, and so we'll jump into this one. And so we'll just do a couple more questions and round it out and see who wins. So it's a tight round. You are actually all very close. Currently, Dale has the lead by 1 point. Everyone else is tied.
Now I'm scared.
You gotta hold that title, Dale. And so our universe has recently been named Laniakea. What language is it named in? Cendrine.
Is it Hawaiian?
It is Hawaiian, Cendrine. So Laniakea is the name of our universe as a whole. And so that's where we live. It's kind of pretty. And so
I like it.
yeah. And then here we'll do one last question here. This will be our last question. What continent does the ancient proverb come from? No river can return to its source, yet all rivers must have a beginning. What continent?
Asia.
So it is incorrect.
Duh.
Good guess though.
Africa?
That is incorrect.
Europe.
That is incorrect.
Is it Antarctica?
It is incorrect.
North America.
It is North America, Dale Lyman. And
So
so
only two left.
that
all
is
three.
I know we kind of narrowed it down. Now, it is an American Indian proverb, Native American proverb, and so
That was actually my first impulse, but I thought it was wrong.
So, all right. So we'll bring it back to us. So we're actually running short on time. Otherwise, I'd play trivia with you all day. I'd force you to play trivia with me more like it all day. And so, Dale, you are crowned not only our Shrimpy Award winner from last year, but this year's newest winner. That's your title until next year. That was a really good round, actually. Everyone was really close. So
The new shrimp.
yes, the newest, the shrimpiest person here. And so, well, our time just kind of blows through on this. We're actually almost out of time. So I just wanted to just thank every one of you for being on. For everyone that's been in our live chat, it's been so much fun getting to chat with you. I know some of you were wanting to connect with some of these people, so do check out their books down below. You're welcome to connect with myself or any of these people. I always pass on anything that you have for them through diabolicshrimp.com if you want to check it out. It's a free site to join and talk to and things like that. So just wanted to thank you all for being on Diabolic Shrimp.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Josh and
Well,
panelists.
I'm going to send you all back down to the Netherrealm hangout for just a second, and I'll thank you all again for being on in a second. So that was our special guest. We were all talking about new things. Many of them have been on Diabolic Shrimp before the channel, so check out their videos. If you haven't subscribed to this channel and you'd like to help us out in a free way, hit that subscribe button down below. That allows me to support more authors and interview interesting and exciting people from around the world. But thank you so much for joining us in the live chat. If you're checking this out later, hit those comments down below. I always love to share these things with authors later on. And if you want to connect with any of these people, by all means, share those comments down below. But this has been another Diabolic Shrimp. Have a good night.